Hello, I'm Mary O'Malley, and I want to explore with you the art of befriending yourself. This is what we long for, to become our own best friend and accepting ourselves as we are, which is becoming a friend, is one of the deepest, truest longings that we have. And yet, most of us don't know this deep friendship. Most of us have become ongoing projects because we believe that we're not okay as we are, that we need to be better or different in order to be okay. And I want you to just take a moment and feel the heartache of that. The heartache of never being truly comfortable in our own skin as we are. Because we all got so many messages when we were young that we needed to be different. It may be your physical looks. I was very judged by my physical looks, so much so that I wouldn't look in a mirror for years, and because all I saw when I looked in a mirror was ugliness. That's how strong this self-rejecting conditioning can embed itself inside of us. So you may have gotten a message that your body was not beautiful enough, or was too tall, or too short, or too plump, or too skinny. And all the while, this was the body that you were given. You may have been judged by your physical capabilities. You may not have had any inclination to try out for one of the sports teams, but you loved to spend time on computers. You may have been judged by your how good of grades that you get. That the smart ones, you bring home a B+ on a test and your father says, why didn't you get an A? And yet you loved to work with your hands. We weren't only judged by our physical looks and our physical and mental capabilities. We were judged by how we viewed life. It may be, your religion, your family, that you got the message that your political beliefs or your religious beliefs or even your beliefs about your gender were not okay. But it goes even deeper than that. We were told that it wasn't okay to be exuberant or sad or anxious or mad or even have sexual feelings. And oftentimes when we express these, we were punished, even to the point that some of us were punished by being called sinful. And I want your heart to just experience that for a moment. What it was like for a child to be told that they were wrong for what they were experiencing, but also that they were full of sin. So all of these messages that we're not okay as we are, we learn how to hide parts of ourselves. We became only a part of who we are because it wasn't safe to show the rest of ourselves. And we created a persona in order to interface with the world that allowed us to keep these parts of ourselves hidden. It's fascinating. The word personality, the word is persona, and it means mask. And so we all created these masks, these places where we tried to show what we think was okay to show. And all the while we were like an iceberg, only showing the top little bit of the iceberg, and yet underneath it was the vast regions of who we really are. And to be a whole human being, it really means learning how to accept yourself as you are. You are a unique expression of life. You are put together in ways that no other human being ever has or ever will be put together. And yet it is so hard for us to discover how to meet ourselves in our own hearts. The joy of self-acceptance is enormous. The joy of self-acceptance is empowerment. And this self-acceptance doesn't come from your mind. The mind is dualistic in nature. It thinks this is good and that is bad. It thinks this is right and that is wrong. And yet the heart is the place that has room for everything. And science has now shown that our heart is our main brain. It is a brain. It's a literal brain. And it is our main brain, and it is our home. So yes, there's many roadblocks, many ideas that you have taken on that say that you need to be better or different than what you are. But I am here to tell you that is just conditioning. And none of that is true. And a good metaphor is the first time I saw my own face. I saw it after years of not looking into mirrors. I didn't cut my hair. I didn't wear makeup because what I saw was self-revulsion. And one night my bed was under the window. I loved to have it under the window so I could see the stars. And I was up 2.5 stories, and I love to read before I go to bed at night. And I turned to turn off the light, and I saw a face in the window. And I wasn't afraid because I was 2.5 stories up, but I saw my own face. All of that self-rejecting conditioning didn't have a time to configure. And I saw my own face, and I was absolutely stunned by what I saw. And that really gave me the impetus to begin to explore all the other things that were conditioned inside of me, the ways that I learned how to reject myself, this beautiful self, to put it out of my heart. And I began to see that one of the most courageous things I could do for not only for my own healing, but for the healing of the planet, was to learn how to meet myself in my own heart. So even with all of your conditioning, I invite you for just this moment to imagine what it would be like if you saw without judgment how much you judge yourself and others. What happens if you saw with understanding how much self-pity moves through your mind all day long? What if loneliness came for a visit and you didn't try to push it away? What if you were able to open your heart to envy and jealousy when they show up? What would it be okay like if it was okay that confusion or dread or greed or anxiousness showed up? Can you allow all of these to move through the spaciousness of your own heart? And I want to say something very radical. What would it be like if anger came, if irritation came, if aggression came? And instead of closing down and following it, you step back and acknowledged it and saw that it was trying to protect something inside of you. What happens if your anxiousness would come and you had space around it and you could say to your fear, I see you. And what would it be like to see how compulsive your mind is? Everybody's mind is. Everybody is compulsive about something. And how we have dealt with it is try to go to war with it and stop it. And if we do stop one compulsion, another will take its place. But what would it be like to not go to war with your compulsions? I assure you, having been a very compulsive person, that to create a relationship with your compulsions, not as enemy, but as ally, is one of the most healing things you will ever do. So what I am saying is to become whole, to become a truly healthy human being. It means allowing everything. It doesn't mean allowing it to express out there, but it is allowing it to show up, and you welcome it. And I assure you, as you welcome everything that you have found previously unacceptable about yourself, it will simply pass through you. So the invitation is just for today. Live in the question, how can I accept myself as I am? And that's not a question to answer. That's a question to live in. If you've hung out with me and my blogs and my radio show and my books, you know I love the power of asking questions. There's the check-in questions, about what am I experiencing right now, bringing your attention into your immediate experience. But also there's the open-ended questions. The questions you ask and don't look for an answer. Because these kind of questions, your mind isn't smart enough to figure out how to solve them. But there's something with you that's greater than you. And so you ask a question and you let it go. It was Gertrude Stein that said the power of questions isn't in the answers. It's in the questions themselves. So, if you want to know how to thrive, if you want to know how to make a difference in the world, if you want to become a part of the healing that is happening on this planet, be courageous enough to live in that question. Be courageous enough to put your baby toe into the sea of self-acceptance. And slowly and surely, like light dawns in the morning, the armoring around your heart will begin to dissolve. And you will again live not from your separate mind, but from your connected, inclusive, spacious, accepting heart. Is this easy? No. We've been so trained in the opposite. But just a little bit of self-acceptance goes a long way. And watch your mind judge yourself for how well you are doing self-acceptance, and realize that's just the mind. And when you notice you're in the mind, just come back, breathe yourself into your body, and place your hand over your heart and ask life to show you how to live from your heart. So if this calls to you, I really invite you to come join and be a part of my online course, What's in Your Way is the Way, that is starting soon. And if this interests you, you can go to my website, maryo'malley.com, and you can find out more about the course under the tab Courses. And I would like to offer you a discount. So you can email Devra. She is in charge of the courses. And you can find her email under Contact Us on my website on maryo'malley.com, and tell her where you heard this and tell her that you would like the discount. And if that doesn't call to you, be willing at least once a day to either put your hand over your heart or breathe in and out through your heart, and then ask life to bring you home to your heart. And then let that question go. And it will work its magic from underneath your everyday awareness so that you too can know the joy of living from your heart. Namaste.